Hello, so for this video we're going to be doing French seam, which is a kind of enclosed seam. So a little background, it is called the French seam in all of the English speaking world, but in France it's called the English seam. So it's actually comprised of two seams and it is very neat, like andar se as well as bahar se, and it's quite strong because it's two seams. So because it's neat, it's used for you can use it for transparent fabrics and fine blouses, handmade silk lingerie. And because it's strong, it's very often used in infants' clothing and other lightweight, wearable, washable garments. However, French seams cannot be used where you want to put a seam allowance so that you can have an alteration later. Like you maybe want to increase the width of a pant or something like that. So there you can't use that, and you can't use it where you have closely fitted garments. So it's comprised of two seams. So what does it look like? So I have over here two pieces of poplin, and I have the wrong sides facing together. This right here, this pencil line, is my seam line where the final seam will be, and this over here is at a quarter of an inch away where I have done basting. So my first seam will go on this. So I will stitch it with the wrong sides facing each other. Usually it's the other way around, if you remember, for a plain seam. So I will do that on my machine and be back, and I will stitch on the basting I have done over here. So you can see I have finished my liner stitching. This is the first seam, and on my seam line I have done what do you call that, thread tracing, and I have cut it open. So when I open the thing on the other side, I'll be able to see the threads so that I know where my line is. So now what I'm supposed to do, I will just open this up. You can see I know where my seam is supposed to go. So I will open up the seam. Now this looks like a plain seam, but this is the right side. So what you're going to do, you're going to iron this seam allowance open, and you will cut off the excess and leave only about 1/8 of an inch or less, because we want our ready size to be 1/4 of an inch. So you can see I have cut off my excess, and I may have cut off a little too much. So try to keep it 1/8 of an inch so you can even flatten it and open it up. So once that is done, I will turn it around. So this is what my wrong side looks like. I will flatten it, press it properly, and using this guideline I will put my new and final seam on this line, which we have from the thread tracings. Because I wanted to do it like the right way according to this textbook, that's why I've put the thread tracing. Naito ma'am hasn't asked us to do any of that, but like it will be required once you're actually making garments, because like you will need to know where your final seam line is now. But like for the swatch, you can work with like just taking measurements and doing. So I will put a seam over here and remove this extra thread and be back. I stitched that second line over here where the thread tracing was, and you can see on both sides. So this is my wrong side of the fabric. So you can see, even though it's the wrong side, my stitch over here is thoda off where you go back and forth. But otherwise, even on the wrong side, it's very pretty as compared to the other seams. So I'll just write wrong side over here. And on my right side also, you can see it's a very clean seam. So because there's no seam allowance here to open and press, what you will do is this, you can press towards one side. Ideally, if it's on your side seam or shoulder seam, this should point to the back of your garment. So depending on where it is, ideally back of the garment. So what does the seam look like when it's like in the side profile? So first we have our two wrong sides faced together over here. Wait, yeah, here. So I will do one seam over here, and this is like the extra fabric I have. This is the wrong side, so I will turn it around. This gets cut off. I turn the fabric facing each other, right sides to each other, and then I do another seam over here after cutting this. So this will be my ready seam size. So I have taken this as 1 1/4 inch. 1/4 inch, sorry. So where will you iron? You will iron front of the seam to open it up, make it nice and flat, and back towards the back, जहाँ भी आपका back जा रहा हो. And there you have it. That is the French seam. Nothing more to it.